Coach Adam, it's so nice to see you.
Dr. Marc, it's good to see you too, buddy. It's been way too long.
Way too long. You're my longest tenured business coach. We had such a good quality stretch working together, and it was life changing. So I wanted to bring you on, ask some questions, see what you're up to, and see how you can help a bunch of online coaches start and
I'm,
grow their businesses.
I'm honored to be back. And yeah, my friend, it's good to see you again. And I sincerely, genuinely enjoy every time that we get to talk together. So yeah, I'm excited,
Likewise.
and we'll see how many people that we can help today. That's the goal as always.
Amazing. One thing that stuck with me through our work together is this. You had said it a few times, is that like any business can be $1 million business, especially $1 million coaching business with different ideas and niche and that kind of thing. How did you come across that idea in terms of, is that through experience, through what you saw, through how you help people? Like how do you know that?
Yeah. It's basically through, and again, we'll put a couple caveats on it. It is through that like coaching, consulting, online business. So it's like if you're selling, I don't know, custom sweaters for cat paws or something like that. It's like, it's going to be a struggle. I don't know about that one, but like if you're offering some kind of service-based business and you're doing it online, yeah, pretty much any business can be. There's going to be some tweaks that we probably have to make in regards to like the niche and the offer and the market and things like that. But really it's just come from seeing it so many times over the past decade. Like it's just, there have been niches and coaches and consultants early on where I was like, there's no way that is going to work. Just no. And then they did. And it didn't just work. It was like $1 million, multi-million dollars. And I was like, wow, okay, hang on. So what about this one? That one can't work. Surely that's impossible. It's way too small. We're $1 million. I was like, what is happening here? And it really just came down to like a few of the core principles that are fortunately for you and me and everybody else, learnable, repeatable. They're not secrets. It's like when we look at these businesses, a lot of people from the outside think of, I call it the reverse unicorn. So it's like, yeah, but they're special. I'm not. I have this problem and I have this. And it's like, no, you just don't have access to the playbook or the tools or the systems that you need to get there. But if once you do, it's like building a side table from IKEA. It's like, yeah, it's going to be a bit painful and you're going to miss a few screws here and there, but like you follow the thing, you're going to end up with something very workable. And I think what ends up happening is that the way that most of us are brought up and raised, we look at $1 million or more than that as this, again, this mythical number that's just unachievable. It's just such a weird number. It's like a lottery number. But when you start surrounding yourself with other people in this game, you realize that actually that's kind of just step one. Like that's not the end goal. That's like, okay, cool. Now we've got a decent foundation. Now let's work on building something a little bit bigger. And so we have to sort of switch our mindsets around it, of what's achievable and what's doable. And I think the best way to do that is, again, surrounding yourself with people. Again, think about like the first time you went to like a proper powerlifting gym or whatever, and you saw people and they weren't benching like 2 plates. They were benching like 6 plates, 8 plates. And you're like, what is this? What is happening? You're like, oh, that's the level. I understand. That's what people do here. So, okay, well, what do I have to do? And you don't just go and rip your chest apart. It's like you figure it out and you use proper form and technique and strategy. And of course, there's going to be some limitations, but the limitations are significantly beyond what we ever thought or what we impose upon ourselves or others impose on us. So very long-winded answer. But the premise, the takeaway point is, yes, with the right strategy and systems in place, and if you're operating in this space and there's never been a better time to do this than right now today, yeah, these goals are very achievable with the right strategies and work ethic.
What are, in terms of like strategies, work ethic, systems, playbook, like what do people need to focus on as they get this stuff going? Is there any, like, we talked about those commonalities, but is there anything that like stick out around like you have to have this in place, you need to do this first?
Yeah, for sure. So like you're familiar with my marketing master plan. It's like that 5-word thing that I use all the time. So model, market, message, media, machine. We can unpack them all if we want. It really depends on the stages that you're at. But to break it down really quickly, model. So you need the right business model. So again, if we're talking about operating in the online space, ideally operating with like in the high ticket space, because it's significantly easier to sell something at $1,000 or $10,000 than it is to sell thousands of things at $10 and $20. So anybody that's trying to sort of make it online, selling $10, $20, $30 items, it's like it's an uphill battle that I would not, that is not a fight that I would join. So there's your business model. Then it's your market. So who's your target market? And you've got to get very clear and specific on who that is. So most everybody, it's like, this is this common thing in all of business and marketing. They want to do everything for everyone. It's like, I'm a nutrition coach for people, or for men or for women or whatever. And it's like the billions of people. It's like we've got to narrow it in, because if we're not being specific, then we become this like wandering broad generality and we get ignored. So we've got to be specific. And then ideally we have to go after, and this is going to sound a little bit shallow, but we got to talk the marketing talk. Like we have to go after people with money. So if they can't afford what you're selling, then it doesn't really make sense to be marketing to them. You can still help them. You can create free content. You can give away free materials. You can do all of the stuff that you and I do on a regular basis by creating this stuff to help people that may not be in a position to afford it financially. But to work with you at that higher level, yeah, we need to find people that can actually afford it. There's another thing we say a lot, which is like those who pay attention. So when they've got skin in the game and they put money in, they actually get better results. And they've proven this time and time again through countless studies. It's like when you buy something, you have a vested interest in it. So you work harder, therefore you get better results. So that's market. Then you have the message. And this is how you're communicating what you do to that target market so that you're able to clearly communicate the benefits that you provide. So what ends up happening is like you've got your service over here and you have this end result that the client wants to get, and your message is sort of helping them bridge that gap from one section to another. So it's not about features. They don't care that you're offering 6 sessions and 3 calls and 2 meal plans and whatever it is. They want more energy and more confidence. They want to feel better in their clothes. They want to do all these other things. So we talk about the features for the logical part of the brain, but then we back it up with the benefits for the emotional part, which is how decisions are made. So where are we at? Message, media. Media, what should we do? So man, media is a whole topic to itself. Where is your target market present and active online? And then we go there and we ignore everything else. So I don't care about the latest TikTok trend or the latest Instagram carousel algorithm or the latest YouTube short update. It's irrelevant if your market is not there consuming content. So we have to find where they are. And the only way to figure out where they are is to figure out who they are first. Then we go there, we double down, we kind of master one platform first before going on to others. And we really show up again and again. And then after that, the media, we have the machine, which is really just the funnel, which is fancy marketer talk for the customer journey. So it's like, how are we introducing ourselves to someone? How are we getting them to raise their hand and say they're interested? What's the process that we're guiding them through to get them to the next step? How are we encouraging them to book a call to learn more? How are we closing the sale? All of the things that go into that. But yeah, it's each successive step. Now, the beauty is, and I think we'll put a cap on this one after this one final thing, $1 million business, we follow something called the rule of one. So we want one offer to one target market that solves one problem. We can go a little deeper, like we'll sell it through one platform using one funnel with one sales call. But like, we don't want 3 offers on 3 platforms with 3 different things. It just, things compound exponentially. So it's like 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 is 1, but 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 4 times 6, we end up with hundreds of possible variations that we have to optimize. So what a lot of people think is, I'm going to have more stuff, I'm going to make more money. We've all heard about rich people having multiple streams of income. What the problem with that premise is that yes, they do later. So they don't start with multiple streams of income. They start with one stream of income. They double down on it, because who cares if you've got 7 different things making $3 a month? You'd rather have one thing making a good 100, 200 grand a month, and then you can start to expand and diversify. So a lot of stuff to unpack there. I appreciate. That was not a beginner friendly chat. We just dove into the deep end there, Mark.
No, it's a good one. So that's the playbook right there in terms of like, yeah, if you had to start a nutrition coaching business from scratch right now, in terms of like what you're seeing trend wise, what people are consuming, what they're doing, is there a place you would start in terms of like getting this stuff going?
Yeah. I mean, the first thing I would do is,
I know you made entire videos on like,
I know that's
engineering this process. So
yeah.
Like, what would you do?
What would I do? I think the first thing I would do is find out the market and the model. They kind of go hand in hand of like, okay, well, who are the people that I want to serve? And a bit of a bonus tip hack here. You are best positioned to serve the person that you were 3, 5, 10 years ago. So I would look back at who I was 3, 5, 10 years ago. So it'd be like, okay, new dad, business owner, what were my goals? What did I want to do? What did I struggle with? What things was I attracted to? What messages resonated with me? And then I'd start going after that kind of person. Then I'd start having conversations with them as quickly as possible. So we overlook market research, or we think that often it involves like stalking people's Instagram pages and like, I'm doing market research. It's like, not really. We're not really discerning any information. We're able to have a conversation with a potential client and be like, what are you struggling with? What do you want? If I were to help you and give you a goal or give you an outcome, what would that look like? What's the biggest challenge standing in your way right now? What do you feel stopping you from getting there? Like if I had a magic wand and I could immediately give you the dream outcome, what would that look like? What would you be willing to do to, like, all of these questions, we can just uncover these nuggets of gold. And sure enough, I'm recording that conversation, and every word they say, with their permission, of course, is my sales copy. It's like, well, I'm too tired in the morning because I woke up all night. Guess what my sales page is going to say? Hey, were you kept up all night by your baby and you're too tired in the morning to work? Like, we're just using their words. All I'm really doing is sort of like DJing the words that they're giving me as a marketer and putting them in the right order. So once I had that, then I'd figure out their packaging and what they wanted and how I would do that. I'd figure out a price point. I'd work with my first few clients for free or very cheap because I want testimonials and I want referrals and I want case studies. If I don't have those, people are always like, no, charge what you're worth. I was like, congrats. If you're new, you're not worth anything. Like, as a human, you're valuable and we love you and you're special and all that. But like as a nutrition coach, as any kind of business, like, you're just not valuable to the market. So you've got to show that you're valuable. So I'm going to get those results. Then I'm going to transfer those. I'm going to try to get some referrals, and I'm just going to probably build up my content database all the while. So I'm recording things, I'm making more posts, I'm going where my market is, and then it just grows from there. Eventually we're going to cap out on how many hours that we can work, and how much we can charge for it. So then we raise our rates. And sure enough, like, you can get $1 million consulting business by charging hourly. A lot of people say, no, you need a membership or a course or this or that. It's like, no, you can make a lot of money by becoming one of the best coaches and consultants and just working one-on-one. And later you can decide if you want to do that. But I wouldn't even be looking at that until the business was doing at least, say, 20 to 30K a month.
I love that. I think what I'm picking up on too is that, like, there's like almost short-term strategies, or you kind of got to be scrappy with things in terms of like doing the work, showing up, kind of like, I wouldn't say getting people's in faces, but like having conversations and talking with real people, as well as like there's stuff that seems to be like more long-term around like doing stuff that's going to work later, that's going to attract people later and kind of build some social credit around this type of stuff. Is that is that the right way to view that, around like do stuff now 100%. To get people like actual experience, but also do stuff long-term that's kind of going to like set you up down the road? Yeah,
100%. In fact, and this is, I think, where most people go wrong and why they stall their growth so much, is they focus too much on the long-term strategies at the beginning. So content marketing, best example ever. I love content. You know, I love content. You love content. It's a powerhouse, but that thing takes time. Like, that does not bring clients for days or weeks or possibly even months. So if you need clients now, the last thing you should be doing is being like, I'm going to spend 8 hours today, like scripting the perfect YouTube video and recording it. It's like, no, you should be, nobody likes this, but like, you should be on the phone or sending DMs or like emails at the very least, or going to face-to-face groups. It's like, you need conversations. Conversations lead to clients. This is probably the single biggest shortcut that anybody could ever accept. Nobody wants to, by the way. They want to do the other things, which is fair, but it's like, let's decide if we want to be comfortable, if we want to be rich. Because if we want to be comfortable, then yeah, make the content, hide behind the camera. It's still a bit uncomfortable, but nowhere near as like sending that DM or having that conversation. But the people that make money, they're the ones that reach out. So we've got to almost replace, in the early stages, marketing with sales. So it's like, forget marketing. We don't need marketing right now. What we need is sales. We need an offer. So how we help people, what we do for them. We need a market to go out to, and then full stop. It's like, that's it. We need to find people and we need to make them offers. And there's an expression, I forget who said it back in the day, probably Frank Kern. It's like, your income can be measured in direct proportion to the amount of offers that you make to your market. So it's like, if you want to make more money, you need to make more offers. That's it. If I look back at my early stages of my career, the first little bit, no money. Guess what? No offers. And then finally I was like, maybe I should make some offers. Super smart. Takes a while. And I made offers.
When you say offers, it literally means like, okay, so you have this way that you go about doing your service. You're literally just, you're asking people if they want to do that thing based on the fact that they have the problem that you're going to solve.
Correct. Totally. So what I would do is like you and I wouldn't just go up to you and be like, hey, you want to buy nutrition coaching? I'd have a conversation. I'd be like, hey, so where are you at with your nutrition? How's that working? What's it like trying to raise a couple kids with, and like still do meal planning and this and that. And then you're going to say your problem. You'd be like, oh, interesting. Okay. Well, if you're interested, I actually have a solution to that exact problem. Do you want to hear more about it? And they could say no. And you could say, no sweat. Or they could say, yeah, sure. Tell me. And you can say, well, here's how I help people do this, this, this. you want to hear a little more? Are you interested? Again, we never have to push or hard sell. When people hear sales, they immediately think of like Wolf of Wall Street or used car dealers or anything like that. What we're doing is we're asking questions. That's really it. And the reason that we're asking questions is because we're trying to determine if they're going to be a good fit for us. And if we feel that they're a good fit for us, then it's my perhaps brainwashed belief over the years of trying to indoctrinate this view into myself. It's my belief that we have an obligation to help them rather than an opportunity. Nutrition coaching is probably one of the best examples. So if we have someone that is suffering and unhealthy and struggling and overweight and whatever it is, and we have a solution, it's not fair to them that we don't tell them about it. So imagine, like, for example, you go talk to someone and you've got the magic pill that's going to solve all their stuff, which of course, diet, exercise, all that. And they tell you all their problems. And then you go, oh, sounds rough. Okay, good luck. See you later. And then they suffer for the rest of their life and or die premature, like horrible things. Like you have to say, hey, well, actually, my name is Dr. Marc. Here's what I do. I help people with this. Do you want to be happy to share a couple things? And we can share some advice and we can share a few tips and we can have a normal face-to-face conversation or voice-to-voice conversation and inevitably allow it to sort of steer into, by the way, this is what I do. Would you like some more information on it?
Yeah, I love that. I think, okay, so this is like the short-term strategy around like getting in front of the right people and making these offers. And that's how we'll get things going. Mm-hmm. At that point, we start to transition into some things that are like more long-term around like, I guess, I don't know, for lack of a better word, evergreen around like doing the work without us. I don't think anything's really truly passive. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but like doing some things that'll go further in terms of being found without us having to like step out in person in terms of having these conversations. Like, what does that process look like?
Yeah, I think that process happens. It's a lot of it is dependent on, say, the rate of success and the personality of the person. Like there's some people that are going to be naturally more drawn to creating content and it's going to help them. So for example, when I started creating content, I probably, like if money was my main objective, which I said it was, but maybe looking back, it was some other desire for brand or whatever it was. But like if money is the main objective, sales is going to dominate the marketing in the early stages up to, again, let's say 10, 20, 30K a month. It's like, you're going to be able to get way more bang for your buck by focusing on that. But there is going to be a point where having a few more pieces of content and assets is going to help to make the sales process easier. So we want to put it on like the minimum viable amount of content. So it's like, maybe it's a post a day on Instagram. Maybe it's a YouTube video once every 2 weeks. Maybe it's some way to show that you actually know what you're doing. And there's some other benefits of that as well, is that when you create content, specifically long form, but also short form in a sense, it forces you to clarify your views and your beliefs and your methods and your systems. So I think one of the reasons that I grew as a marketer was that been creating content for so long that it really forced me, well, what do I think about this? And like, what is my view on that algorithm or on B2B versus B2C or product versus services or whatever it is? And by creating the content, well, you and I can now have a conversation like this, and it just flows naturally because it's been like over a decade of talking about this every single day. So when you,
you explained an entire methodology in like 4 minutes,
right? Yeah, there's a lot of stuff at once.
Yeah, and I mean it is because you're incredible in terms of your experience and stuff, but it's also because you've explained it probably like 300 times in 300 different ways.
Yeah, I think it's more the latter. I think it's just repetition. I think it's there's an expression I like, which is great marketers are trained, not born. So it's like you can learn this just by sheer brute force. It's just reps. Which is this is why I love like fitness and nutrition and this community, is that this market gets it where others don't, because there's no shortcutting reps in the gym. There's no shortcutting eating the right foods or doing the right things or prioritizing sleep or supplementation. Like you just can't shortcut it. And the secret to business, it's gonna like, here's something no one wants to say. It should be boring. Like if you're having way too much fun doing all this stuff, you're probably not making as much money. Like it should be long stretches of, I can't believe I have to talk about, say, the marketing master plan again, or talk about like how to position services, or talk about how to do this nutrition thing or whatever it is. It's like, yes, you do. You have to talk about it all the time and you've got to clarify it. And the reason you do is because it's going to become more solidified in your mind, but it's also not everybody watches all of your stuff, and they're going to take time off and they're going to come back. And it's rare, even now with all of the content I have, it's rare that someone says, he's just saying the same things, or he said this before, or I saw this before. It happens, but like, not like it should happen all the time, because I say the same things over and over and over. And it rarely occurs. So yeah, we have to repeat it.
How do you find that will to persist when things are boring, though, in terms of, like, I know a lot of this you had mentioned at the beginning, is like, there's a big part of it that's mindset too. Like, you can have the playbook, but you have to like see it through. So what kind of wisdom would you share with someone that's like, is finding it really boring, but knows they need to do it anyway?
Yeah. I mean, I think there's two things. I had a chat with a buddy of mine forever ago. And he was actually a mindset coach, and we were walking and talking, and the concept of like mindset versus mechanics came up, because he had a really good mindset, but his mechanics weren't there. And he's like, I think it's like only 20% mindset and like 80% mechanics. I was like, no, you gotta, like, it's totally wrong. It's 80%, 90% mindset and like 10% mechanics. And I was like, and the reason is because the mechanics, when you first look at it, they're going to look complicated, but they're not. And once you get into it, it's like everything we've just talked about today. Like, there is no secret. That's the secret. It's like, it's repetitions. It's showing up in the right place with the right message over and over. It's tiny tweaks and tiny things, but it's the mindset to be willing to do the things that others aren't willing to do. So there's a couple big, like I probably brainwashed myself a lot. Like Jim Rohn was still one of my favorites. I listened to him again this morning. So I listened to Jim Rohn all the time. Super smart dude. One of Tony Robbins' original mentors. A lot of good stuff on success and motivation, and sort of get you in the right zone. The other thing is, you've got to figure out why you're doing it and what's important to you and what you really want. So you can't make yourself work for something that there's no really clear payoff or what you're going to get. So for me at first, it was just simply replace my income that I made from my job. Like, that was it. I just wanted to make enough money so that I would never have to go back to that job again. And then once I hit that, then the next motivation came. Okay, well, now I'd like to make enough so that I can take a few more trips. Okay. Now I need more motivation. Now I'd like to have enough so that I could pay for this house or that thing. And we sort of just kept increasing the goals, not in a maniacal, obsessive way, possibly, but like in a way that constantly gave me enough fuel to be willing to get up and do the work. And then also, I think as you start doing this, especially in this field and industry, you realize that you are making a positive impact on other people's lives. And whatever your beliefs or your views about legacy or whatever it is, we can all pretty much agree that it's in everybody's best interest to try to help more people. It's like, it's just what karma, like, good things are going to happen. You're going to look better to your family, to your friends. You're going to do better for the world. Other people are going to be better. So it's like this desire to give back starts to compound. And then you start to see the results you have. And then you start to realize that the additional financial security is giving you and your family. And that becomes motivating. So at first there's this desire to say, build it. And then once you have it, there's this desire to keep it, but to also expand it. And then to also start giving back. And I think in the early days, like, do whatever you got to do. Like if it's a picture of a Lamborghini on your wall, get the Lambo. And I think once you got the Lambo, then you'll realize, okay, cool. Now I'm kind of bored. So like, now let's build a well in Africa. Now let's go build this school. Now let's go help my family and whatever it is. But yeah, the motivation has to come from within. But you've got to also be careful of who you're surrounding yourself with so that you're not getting bogged down by, again, I'm cautious of my language, but it's sort of, because words are loaded. But like, there's a reason that 1% of the population is at the level that it is. And they're called the 1%ers versus the 99% and all of that. But there's a reason. And it's because they've done the things that the 99% are unwilling to do. And that's really it. So you've got to decide, am I going to do the things that are necessary and uncomfortable? Or am I going to do the things that everybody else is doing? And therefore it's like, what is that? Success leaves clues. And if nothing changes, nothing changes. So if you do what everybody else is doing, you're going to get what they all got. So look around at your friends and your family, try not to judge, but like, look around and ask yourself, do I want their lives? Do I want to have what they have? Do I want to live that? And if you don't, you're going to have to do something different. And you're going to have to look at the people that are at the level that you want to get to. And then you can start to reverse engineer what they're doing and looking at it. And again, it's probably not very, it's probably not very secretive or comfortable. They probably wake up a bit earlier. They work a bit harder, etc.
Yeah. I know one thing that personally was super uncomfortable for me that I knew I needed to do, and you also knew I needed to do, was this like long form YouTube content thing. And I know a lot of people have benefited so much from this channel. They tell me all the time, and you're a big reason for that. Was there anything in terms of like why you thought I should do it that would be good? Was there anything in terms of like that thing that stuck out, or like,
Yeah.
should everyone do it? I don't like let's talk about that.
Yeah. So there's two questions there. Don't let me forget the second one of should everyone do it. But for why you should do it, I mean, it was obvious to me. And like part of that was from a professional side of things where I knew the power that the channel was going to have for your business. And the other side of it was the personal side of like, I knew you well enough at that point to know your personality and that you were going to like set your mind to something and just do it. So I was like, so I didn't have to worry that you were actually going to see it through, because again, the success didn't come in the first like few weeks or few months. Like it comes later, right? And then it compounds. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, well, we just passed a milestone too, around like 10,000 subscribers and like all those things. But like at the beginning, there was probably, I think I was at like 100 subscribers for maybe like the first 6 months or even 12.
Yeah.
It was tough going.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it sucks, right? I was there too. Mine took a long time to grow. And I remember all of the judgment from friends and family being like, why are you wasting your time? Why are you doing this? Like you have clients you need to serve. And I was like, I don't know. I got this feeling that it's going to work. I don't know what it is. I just think it's a smart move. So yeah, you've got to kind of put on the blinders and the earmuffs. But I knew it would pay off for you. And I'm glad that you stuck with it, because most people get into it and they make a few videos. They don't get the views, or they get 2 views because their mom watched twice and like clicked the thumbs up button and clicks it again, which makes it disappear. Clicked once, once. And then they give up because they don't get the results right away. So again, it's got to tie into, what am I trying to do? What am I trying to build? Do I believe in this? Now, should everyone do it? Ooh, this is going to throw you. I don't think so. But I think most people should. So, and the reason I say not everyone should do it is because there's some people that are just really not going to, I mean, I don't think anybody likes it. In fact, it's funny. I had to record a video this morning. I was talking to my wife and I was like, man, I don't want to go record. She's like, you see that every time. I was like, we're over 1,000 videos. And every time I have to go record, I try to find something else to do.
What's going on in your mind when you like, what's the resistance around? Is it the fact that like,
just tired? And like, I'm tired and I don't want to.
That can't be the reason though. Is it like that? You're like, am I saying the same things? Is anyone going to find this interesting? Is it even
not anymore? At first it was like, it really was though. So it was like, this video's dumb. No one's going to watch it. It's going to be a stupid video. And I look stupid anyway. I'm wearing a stupid shirt. And it's like stupid microphones. Like it's just all the negative self-talk. Now it's really just like, oh, I'm just tired. Like, I just don't want to make any. So but that'll change, because then I'll get excited and then I'll make a bunch of videos and then I'll have those other thoughts of like, I made this before. This is dumb. Why don't I just repurpose that other video? So it's like that soundtrack constantly plays. So you've got to learn to, there's a quote by Seth Godin that I absolutely love. And I had this big like social media drama years ago about it, because I posted like, don't be authentic, be professional. And a lot of the like authentic crowd really got mad. They really got mad. And so his argument was, obviously we need context. His argument was, if you show up for surgery in the morning, you don't care if your surgeon was like, I had a tough fight with my wife last night. My dog kept me up and I'm just not I'm not feeling it, guys. I got to be honest. I just don't feel it. And he's like, we don't care. Be a professional, put on your scrubs and it's showtime. So I used to have on my bathroom mirror, it's showtime. And I would go there and I'd be like, it doesn't matter how I feel. It doesn't matter what I have work to do. I'm a professional. This is what I do. I make videos. I write this content. I get to work. I help clients, etc. So if you're the kind of person, let's bring it back to the thing. Should everyone do it? If you're the kind of person that can convince yourself that this is part of your job, which it is, to be like, we have to market ourselves, and you're going to do it and you're going to stick through the learning curve, then yeah, you should absolutely do it. And the reward is worth the sacrifices that you're going to make. Full stop. On the other hand, if you can be totally transparent and honest with yourself and be like, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to quit. It's going to suck. I'm going to find another platform. Yeah, there's other platforms. Like, you don't need YouTube, just like you don't need Instagram, or you don't need TikTok or a blog or a podcast, or these are all just tools that we can use. I mean, direct mail could work. Going door to door can work. We've seen these work. It's just that like bang for your buck wise, YouTube is still the best one. And it doesn't look like it's going away anytime soon. Like, it's still the behemoth social media platform with the best algorithms behind it for search and discovery, with the most features, with the most ability to do short form that you can leverage on other platforms. It's just, yeah, the major player.
Oh yeah, okay. So it sounds like not everyone should do it, but like
Like
if
most
you,
should.
yeah, okay, without a doubt.
If
And I
you
mean,
want to,
I
how
think,
about this? How about this? If
yeah,
you want to be in that, like, and I wish there was a better expression than like the top 1%, but it's the most fitting. Like if you want to be in the top 1% of society and the top, let's say 10% of nutrition coaches, which by the way, I'm going to argue the bar is pretty low for it. Like if you want to be in the top 10%, it's yours just by wanting to, you can just take it because most people just they're not watching this. They're not implementing anything. So if you want to do that, then yeah, you kind of have to, like, you just have to.
mm-hmm. Well, I think, and especially like the reward around something that a lot of people don't want to do in terms of putting themselves out there that way,
so good.
the effort into it, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just like, that's the payoff is there, is that like,
Yeah.
you're going to do the thing that no one else wants to do.
Oh yeah. You want to hear something sick? And this will be good
Yes.
because this will be like, this is the fitness side of things again. I had a flight partner years ago when I first learned to fly, and he,
just for context, I think if no one knows,
for context, random story. So I used to be a pilot, but professional business jet captain, flew the world's rich and famous all around. It was a great job, but it wasn't for me. So like if you ever meet a pilot, they love flying and love everything about it. I was always more interested in like, how do I get to the back of the jet and like talk business with everybody? So stopped all that. But back when I was first learning to fly, my flight partner was super awesome, funny dude. And he told me something once. He's like, I love doing things that other people don't want to do. And I was like, you're sick. I don't know what's wrong with you. Cause he wanted to go, he went scuba diving in weird places. And we were just like 18-year-old kids at the time and traveled all over the place and just did like a lot of weird, crazy, hard things, a lot of hard endurance races, but it stuck with me. And over time I started to realize that, again, if you want what other people have, do what they do. And if you want something different, you have to do something different. And I started to realize that these barriers to entry, these obstacles were actually the opportunities. Because again, like I just said a few minutes ago, if you want to get in the top 10%, it's just not hard because most people just don't do it. So I started looking for what is the most challenging, difficult thing that I could do, that if I did it and if I did it well, I would just dominate the competition. And so for me at the time, it was, okay, well, making long form YouTube videos, because again, I looked at all of the competition and who was doing it. And like everyone was looking for the shortcut and the hack. They wanted the quick post and like, how do we make Twitter work? Cause it's just like single line things. I'm like, how do we do all this? I was like, oh man, what's the hardest thing? Speaking on stages? Yeah, let's try that. Like long form videos? Yeah, let's try that. Making full courses and giving them away for free? Let's try that. Let's high ticket coaching, getting celebrity clients, like do all of these things. And sure enough, once, what do they say? The top is never crowded. The final mile is the quietest one. Like all of that was true. Like not just a little, but like a lot. So that, and then once you start getting momentum and you end up in that space, which will happen, it may not take weeks or months, it might take months or years. But like once you have it, I can't even begin to describe how much easier things get. Like you've got all the momentum and all of the brand and the content behind you. And then you're just sort of like riding with a tailwind.
Is there any, you talked about no hacks or shortcuts. If there were any though,
if there were,
what would they be? I honestly, one that comes to mind, and I don't even talk about this enough. Number one, YouTube wise, I was set up for success because you showed me the way, and even like down to like camera lighting setup, like things that like just do this. And I was like, okay, like, I mean, I think there's a lot of courage in just being like, yes, I will do that. Like, let's do it. Right.
Yeah.
That's half the battle. But also like one thing that I think has been game changer for me is I've been on an editing subscription since the beginning.
Yeah.
Like I have like, I have to submit 5 videos or I don't make the most of the money I put into it. And I think that like, as in terms of being a powerful thing, like how, like, that's just, I just view it as like the cost of doing business now around like doing that. So now I know I was like, I got to make these 5 videos. My channel's going to grow and that kind of stuff. Is there anything for you like that around consistency?
Yeah. It's funny you say that. Like, so I pay my editors, I don't even know, I'd have to look, but it's like, it's 6 figures to do all of the stuff that we do. And sure enough, this morning, again, I didn't want to make a video, but I looked at my queue and I was like, oh man, they're waiting. Like they're just sitting there waiting for me. So I was like, I have to make a video to get it done. So I think putting the team or the systems in place is very much a thing so that other people are relying on you. In fact, they've done studies on this. I forget the exact heuristic or cognitive bias it's called, but maybe it's expectancy theory. Doesn't matter. The point is like when other people are relying on you, you show up more. So for me, anything that I can do to make people rely on me, I'm not going to let other people down. I'll let myself down like all the time. I'll be like, whatever, but I'm not going to let other people down. So that's a big one. The second thing is they did do a study, and this is where I'm very cautious about talking financial stuff, because I don't believe that anybody should go wildly into debt or buy things they can't afford. However, they've done studies, and I'll speak to my personal experience on this. When you make a financial commitment into a goal that you have, so you put skin in the game, and ideally the larger the better. So the larger investment you make into yourself, it was like 5 times more likely to achieve the goal. That's a lot. That's not double. That's not, that's like this. This means that when you put money in, you're probably going to achieve this goal that you said was important to you. So I think there's a lesson there in that. Set important goals, because why set goals that are dumb and you don't care about? The second thing is find ways to make a commitment to it that is very uncomfortable. And again, there's a ton of really cool TED Talks on this about people making these crazy bets with each other and being like, look, if I don't do this, it's like you come and you like burn my house down or steal my car, like crazy things that just make failure not an option. So again, I kind of look at it as like no plan B, where like, what am I going to do? And then what am I, again, you could, the old story of like burn the boats. It's like, how are we going to make sure that we're only going forward? So again, take that with a bit of a grain of salt, because if you have family commitments and other things like that, don't be reckless. Don't be reckless. But like
there's probably versions of the recklessness within that, though, that is still like not going to put anyone up for risk, but still challenges you enough to make it meaningful, right? Like a tolerable risk within that. And I think a lot of times people don't even, it's either like black or white.
Yes,
for them,
very
right?
much.
And it doesn't necessarily need to be. There's still something that's like meaningful enough and scary enough and a big enough risk within all of that we can push forward with. Yeah.
And like, here's a good example is time. One of the biggest excuses that people have is I don't have enough time, which I get it. Like, I think we all get it. Everybody knows that. Like, I don't have enough time. If you have kids, if you have a job, if you have something, if you're trying to build this as a side hustle. So here's a crazy thought for you. And I learned this actually from one of my base managers up in the middle of the Arctic Circle. This guy this is not a healthy lifestyle tip, by the way. Make sure don't do any of this. He would drink, like he wouldn't eat, by the way, didn't eat food. I never saw him eat. I'm sure he ate something because he would just die, but he would wake up and have like black coffee. He would work all day in what you could only consider very challenging conditions in like the high Canadian Arctic, loading planes and organizing a small base. He would drink like a fish at night. And then he would go to bed after I would go. I never saw him go to bed. He'd be up before I woke up. And I asked him one day, because I was like, his name was Tim. I was like, Tim. Oh, and he smoked like a chimney as well, which is like, none of these things are good lifestyle advices. But I was like, Tim, how are you doing this? He's like, your body is capable of so much more than you imagine. And I was like, okay, hang on. So second story, and then we'll get to the point. We went out and we had to load a bunch of oil drums into this thing for a DC-3 to get it. I don't know. These things must weigh 400 pounds. We're in like 6 feet of snow. We have a shotgun in the truck because polar bears are coming by. Like, it was just straight out of a terrifying movie. We had to load 16 of them. We loaded 8 and I passed out. Like physically passed out from exhaustion. The guy that I was loading them with was half my size, is a bit of an exaggeration, but he was not a large guy, like very, very, very small. He drove me back to the place, got me set up, went back, did the other 8 by himself. And again, I asked him, I was like, how did you do this? And he's like, you do what you got to do, man. And that was it. So from that point on, I was like, okay, hang on. These guys have this new level of mindset and of ability that we're not even tapping into. Goggins said, like, when you're David Goggins with his book of like, when you're done, you've got like 40% left, like you can still go. So all of that to say, very long story. I really want to beat this point home. You got to stop sleeping maybe for a bit, just for a bit. Like 8 hours of sleep is very important. But if this means that you're going to go down to 5 or 6 hours for a few weeks or a few months to cap it in, you're probably going to be okay. And that's what I did. I just, when I had something else that I had to do, I woke up even earlier, or I went to bed a bit later. For me, it means waking up earlier, and you just find the time. So when I hear someone say, and of which sometimes there are valid reasons, but it's rare, I can't wake up earlier, I don't have any time. It's just like, oh, but what time you wake up? 7? What time you going to bed? 11? Midnight? 1? Are you watching Netflix? Are you doing this? No, you need to have a chat with your family. Because like, well, that's my quality time with my partner. You need to have a chat. You're like, I'm about to like bust my balls for like the next 30 days. And I'm going to work really hard. And this is for us. And I'm going to make it up to you. And then you just go all in and you just make it happen, and good things happen.
Well, that's just great. I remember a specific instance. Amy was going in for surgery, for her cancer surgery, and like in 2016. and we had signed up to do this educational course, nutrition course for pharmacists for like the
Mm.
largest drugstore chain here in Canada. We had a deadline, and I remember her like firing off some of the last emails, like in scrubs, like in like
Yeah.
prepared to, like before it happened. And that at the moment, I just remember being like, okay, like, yeah, let's get it done. Let's finish this off, this kind of thing, that kind of thing. And I remember like now looking back, I'm like, who in their right mind,
Yeah.
right, would be like, oh, I don't know why did we do that? But
Yeah.
even these are the type of things that I guess like, you see, like when you have no choice, but because you have a bigger vision for where things are going, you just kind of have to do for a period of time to get there.
Yeah. These are not permanent things. And again, we can talk about balance and lifestyle and all that. And I'm not the role model for that. It took me a long time to sort of figure that out, like years and years and years before I finally got things even to a semblance of normal. But I think like, if you look at the most successful people, you're going to find there was periods in their lives of being off balance. And they were probably a bit longer than you would like, but that's okay. Because again, we're going to make these sacrifices. We're going to do the things. And then we're going to get the rewards, and they're going to compound and so on. So yeah, I mean, I forget how we even got on this one, but I think it came down to like how much or how important is mindset behind it. And I think it's kind of everything, because the tactics can be learned. But the mindset is really hard to constantly. And again, I use the term, I think I've said it a few times in this chat, brainwash. And I do consider it like I brainwash myself on a very regular basis by surrounding myself with people that just won't take that crap. And they call me out on it. And it's funny because I won't catch myself, but they'll catch me, and I'll think too small, or I'll say something, or I'll give an excuse, and I'll just watch their faces go just like flat. And they're just, no, none of that's true. Yeah. And I was like, okay. All right. You got me.
Brainwash is good. I like mental gymnastics around like,
that's good too.
Yeah. Like just, what do I need to do to convince myself otherwise? Yeah. And sometimes it's being around the right people, and sometimes it's just like learned experience and all those things.
Very much. Yeah.
Man, so much knowledge. I know there's going to be a bunch of people catching the replay of this. If you guys have any questions for Adam here with his decades of marketing experience, drop it in the comments, and I'll get them over to him to answer, and we can have maybe a follow-up chat in the months to come. But man, I appreciate you jumping on and sharing some knowledge here.
Oh, it's my pleasure, buddy. Yeah, it's always fun, always good.
Yeah, without a doubt. Is there anything else any other like last minute nugget of wisdom you'd share with someone getting this stuff started?
Yeah, I mean, good one. I think if you're just getting started, you're going to be met with an avalanche of information, which is a blessing and a curse, right? Because you have everything you could ever want to know at your fingertips. And in fact, even this chat, I don't know, we're like 40 minutes in, and we've covered like more stuff than you need to know by a long stretch. So you're going to end up in this phase of like analysis paralysis, where you're going to think that you need to learn this and learn this and learn this. And so I really want to clearly differentiate two types of learning, one of which is called just in case learning, and one is just in time learning. Just in case learning is the procrastination tool of the productive person. So this is where I should probably do that because I'm going to need it. I should probably take that course because I might need that. That sounds interesting. I should do that. This is the best way to waste all of your time. And by the time you learn it, it's going to be outdated. You'll need something else. The alternative is just in time learning, which is, okay, what is the next step that I need to take right now? Is it register my business? Is it call someone? It's probably a conversation, by the way. If you're looking for the single biggest shortcut, it's like have more conversations. What is that? Do I have the tools available to do that? If yes, go do it. And if not, go get the tools and then go do it. And that's it. And if you do that, your growth will be 100,000x times faster than everybody else collecting this just in case learning. So I love information and knowledge and learning and all of that fun stuff, but it is literally useless compared to someone that takes action. And this is why one of the biggest complaints I see from especially new entrepreneurs and new business owners is, how come they're succeeding? They're dumber than me. They're not as smart. And I was like, but that's their secret. They're not overthinking it. They're not learning everything. They're just being like, what do I have to do? Guess I'll go do it. And then they go do it. And surprise, surprise, the action is what gets you the result, not the accumulation of knowledge. So yes,
crazy. Action. As someone that's a former, like addicted to learning, allergic to implementation, like I know that that story firsthand. And speaking of mental gymnastics, like the person that just does it, my mental gymnastics around that is that like there's someone much less, like there's someone so much more dumb than I am that's going to do these things, and they're going to like end up working with someone that's going to give them like a worse experience. And I owe it to everyone to do that thing, because like that's what's in everyone's best interest. Like that's what that's the stuff that's like in my head.
Yeah, totally. Which is why I really like these conversations, because again, I feel like with you and with your audience, it's like we attract people that are like us. And so you're attracting people that are good, hardworking, ethical people. And so if you're a good, hardworking, ethical person who knows what they do and genuinely care about people, it's like, not only do you have an obligation to help, you have a double obligation, because you have to save them from all the hucksters and dangerous people that are going to be like, have you tried eating nothing but sugar for like 6 months straight? I was like, I hear it works wonders. So it's like, we've got to get out there, and we've got to put ourselves out there and be willing to accept a little bit of discomfort to make the change and the impact and the finances that we want to make.
Amazing. Really, really good. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for jumping on. We'll have to do it again. We'll leave it there for today. And if anyone's catching the replay and has some questions, there was a few comments. I missed a few, actually. Elizabeth just said, my mental gymnastics is asking how and finding out. Where's the rest here? And finding out. Maybe she's touching base there. But hey, if you guys have any questions and things, drop it in the comments, and I'll get them over to Adam, and we'll have a follow-up conversation.
Sounds awesome, buddy.
Sound good? Thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's been an absolute blast.
Absolutely. Okay, take care, Adam.
See you, buddy.
Bye. Now, as great as all those tips are, maybe you're still wondering how to start or grow your nutrition coaching. Here's what I want you to do. Go to the first link down in the description below, and you'll get all the details on our Nutrition Coaching Academy certification. It's a 90-day program that'll give you everything you need to start nutrition coaching or to take your nutrition coaching business to the next level. Check out all the details down in the link below, and thanks for watching.